Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody feeling?
You're a teacher.
Yeah, I'm your teacher. Okay, so in the past couple of days, we've been learning about what? What can you tell me we've been learning about? Characters. Setting. Maybe this is for today, but plot. Who can tell me what each of those is? What's a character?
It's like it can be an animal, a person.
Mm-hmm. And they what? They do what, Ruby?
They think,
Uh-huh.
feel,
Uh-huh.
act.
Act. Perfect. Perfect. They think, they feel, and they act. Those are what characters do. Now, what is the setting, Hunter? What's the setting? Do you remember? Where the story takes place. Right. Can the setting be in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Can it be outside?
Yeah.
Can it be on Miss Paris's birthday, December 29th?
Yeah.
Yeah. The setting is the time, the place, the environment, right? Right. Okay, great. And then the plot. What is the plot?
It's like.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. What's the plot? All right, go, Ruby.
It's like what it's about.
Okay, what the story's about. So what did we learn in our last lesson? We did a what? We did a sheet that looked like a what? It kind of came to a peak like this. It looked like a mountain. And so we filled in the blanks. What's happening leading up to what's the very part of the very tip top of that mountain called? No. It's called the climax. It's something in the story that changes the course of how the story is going to affect us, okay? Right. So we've learned about characters, setting, and plot. And now we're going to tie every bit of it in together, okay? So Miss Paris is going to read this short story really quickly, and we're going to kind of discuss again what these are, okay? And then Miss Paris is going to read our Three Little Pigs, and then we are going to take a little assessment to tell us about where, who, first, next, and last, okay? All right. So what if I'm saying where? What is that related to? Where?
Like where it is taking place.
Right. So where is the
Farm.
where is the what in the story? We've just learned about the character, the setting. Where is the setting? Who? Who would I be talking about? Who's in the book? The characters. The who is the characters. And then first, second, and third. That's kind of like the plot. What happens first, what happens in the middle, next. Next could kind of be like our climax, like what's really happening in the story. And then last is our third and our resolution, okay? So this is called Harry's House. And we're just kind of going to talk through it really quickly and figure out. By the front of this book, where is this at?
Like a car. Maybe like a hill.
Is it inside?
No.
Where's it at, Lucy?
Oh, outside.
Outside. And what do you think they're going to do here?
Build a house for the dog.
Good. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Harry's house. Mama and I put on our overalls. We are going to build a house for Harry. Mama saw the boards. I sweep the dust. Mama hammers in the nails. I hold the boards for her. It takes two of us to lift the roof. To keep the rain out, we glue tar paper on the roof. Mama nails on the shingles. I mix the red paint while Mama watches. Painting is messy work, but it's fun too. Now Harry's house is all finished. Good dog, Harry. So, that was really short, but we can learn about what's happening in here, okay? So, who's our who?
The mom and the kid and the baby.
Mom,
Whoever that is.
daughter, and the dog, but he doesn't really talk, right?
No.
But it's about him, so we'll just put a little star by him because he's in the story, okay? So what happens first? What are they going to do?
Build a house.
So first they decide to build a house for the dog. What are they doing next? Or second?
They like. They put stuff on it. They paint it.
Okay, they're painting it.
They put a tarp on it.
So first, how about they decide to build a house for the dog? What happens next or second is they are building, they are putting in nails, they are painting, they are gluing. So they are actually building it now. And then third, what are they doing? What happens in the very end of the story?
The house is done.
The house is done. The dog house
Done.
is complete or done. You see, even by just reading the very short story, you can kind of figure out what the who, the where, and then the plot is of the story. Why they were building a house, what they did, and what happened at the very end. Okay? So Miss Paris is gonna read Three Little Pigs again, and then you're gonna take this at the end, okay? You're gonna take the where, the who, the first, the next, and the last, okay? I've given you an example up here to understand what we just really talked through, the character setting and the plot, okay? And if you need to ask a question, you can raise your hand and we'll talk about it, but I want you to do your very best to pay attention because we've read this story about 3 or 4 times now, okay? So where is the setting?
Like it can be like on the outside.
Sure. It can be the who are the characters. We've already talked about those.
It's the mom and the wolf and the carrier people.
Okay. And then last is the first, next, and last. What happens first, what happens in the middle, and then what happens at the very end of the story, okay?
5.
Okay. So I want you to put your listening ears on. Body still, heads up. Body still, okay? And before I start, I want you to explain to me why characters, setting, and plot are so important.
So you know what the story is about, because if it didn't explain in the words, then you wouldn't know it.
So you know what the story is about. Because if you just looked at text and illustrations, what happens if you can't read very well? What would happen?
Then you would have to look at the pictures.
Right. You would have to look at pictures.
Like if you're a kindergarten.
Maybe if you're a kindergartner. Right. And so why is it so important to tell who the different characters are? If I just say everybody's characters, is that really the truth? No. Right? Because what if I read a story and it had a bunny in there that ran a store, okay? And the bunny didn't speak, but every other character spoke. Is the story really going to be about that bunny? No, not really. Because they didn't explain how they think, they feel, or they act, right? Okay. And then the setting, it tells us the overall environment, place, and time that the story is taking place. Okay? And then the plot teaches us about why things happen in the story the reason they do. It tells us what happens at first, tells us what's happened in the middle, and because of the first and the middle, it is going to tell us what happens at the very end of the story, okay? All right, listening ears. I'm going to read it one more time, and then we're going to take our little assessment, okay? The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, an old sow sent her 3 little pigs out into the world to seek their fortune. Now be sure to write, she said, and remember that I love you. The first little pig met a man with a load of straw. I know, said the little pig. I'll buy your straw and build a house. We're learning what's going on. I'll buy your straw and I'll build a house. That's not a good idea, said the man. Mind your own business, thank you, said the little pig. And he bought the straw and set about building a house. It took him no time at all. Do you think it might be easy or hard to build a house out of straw?
Hard.
If it took him no time at all,
Easy.
probably easy compared to what?
Like building a house on wood.
Right,
Because
Ruby?
you gotta sand down all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So very soon, a lean and hungry wolf happened by. Pig was just about his favorite food in the world. So he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me come in. To which the little pig replied, no, 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 not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. This annoyed the wolf to no end, he said. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. Go right ahead, said the little pig. So the wolf puffed and he blew the house in. And then he gobbled up the little pig. The second little pig met a man with a load of sticks. I've got it, said the little pig. I'll buy those sticks and build a house. I think twice about that, said the man. Oh, pooh, said the little pig. What would you know? And he bought the sticks and went to work building a house. Very pretty, he said. No sooner had the little pig settled in his pretty house than the wolf happened by. He was still hungry. He said, little pig, let me come in. What do you think the pig said?
Not by the hair of my chin chin.
To which the pig replied, no, 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 not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Good, y'all paying attention. The wolf didn't care for that at all. He said, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. Ha, 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 said the little pig. So the wolf huffed and he puffed and he blew the house in. And he gobbled up the little pig. Now, the third little pig met a man with loads of bricks. These bricks will make a fine, sturdy house, said the man. Capital idea, my good fellow, said the little pig. So he bought the bricks and set about building a house. It took him quite a bit of time. Why did it take him quite a bit of time?
Because the bricks are hard to make a house.
Right. But it was well worth it. Nice and solid, said the little pig. Nice and solid. But no sooner had the little pig moved in than he noticed the wolf loitering around. The wolf, who was still hungry, said, little pig, let me come in. To which the little pig replied, no, no, no. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Well, the wolf had heard that before. And he said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. Oh, don't do that, said the little pig. But the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, until he was quite blue in the face. The house stood firm. I'll try another approach, muttered the wolf. And he put the most dazzling smile on his face. Little pig, I was only teasing, he said. By the way, I hear tell that Farmer Jones has the most scrumptious turnips. Shall we go pick a few? Oh, I'm much too busy now, said the little pig. What about tomorrow morning? Excellent, said the wolf. I'll come for you at 6. The next morning, the little pig got up at 5, hurried off to Farmer Jones's turnip field, picked a basketful of scrumptious turnips, and dashed back on. If I was thinking about the setting right this minute, it gave us what? It's where? It's on a farm.
Outside? Yeah.
Outside. What's the time?
Like maybe the afternoon sunset?
Say it again.
5
5 in the
morning.
5 in the morning. The next morning, the little pig got up at 5. Good job, bud. When the wolf arrived at 6, the turnips were already boiling in the pot. Sorry, I couldn't wait, said the little pig. The wolf tried not to show his displeasure. What's displeasure mean?
Like mad.
Yeah, he was mad. No harm done, he said. By the way, there's a lovely apple tree down in the merry meadow. Shall I go help ourselves to a few apples? I must cook my turnips, said the little pig. Let's meet there tomorrow morning. Splendid, said the wolf. Shall we say at 5? The next morning, the little pig was up at 4 and went off for the apples. It took longer than he'd expected to reach Merry Meadow, and while busy gathering apples in the highest tree, he saw the wolf approaching. Do try one of these, he called down, throwing an apple as far as he could. When the wolf chased after the apple, the little pig shimmied down the tree and made it home safely. The next day, the wolf came out again. Really, he was quite put out. There's a fair today on Hog Hill, he said. Would you care to go? Why don't you meet me there, said the little pig. Would you say 3 o'clock suits you? Colossal, said the wolf. 3 it is. Just make sure he would be there at 2. At 1 in the afternoon, the little pig went to the fair and had a fine time. So suddenly he lost track of the hour. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he saw the wolf coming up the hill. Without a minute to spare, the little pig jumped inside an empty butter churn and rolled down the hill towards the wolf. Well, the wolf was so scared, he ran all the way home. That evening, the wolf went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he'd been by a great round thing that came down the hill. Frightened you, did I? Said the little pig. The great round thing was a butter churn, and I was inside. That is simply too much for the wolf to stand. I've been nice long enough, he cried. I'm going to eat you up now. He climbed onto the roof. Then the little pig saw this. He put a big iron pot in the fireplace and quickly stoked the fire. Here I come, cried the wolf. Dinner time. You can say that again, said the little pig. And he cooked the meat on the whip, and he gobbled him up.
He probably eaten his other brothers. Yeah.
So we've learned about characters, setting, and our plot. What happens in our story, what's our rising action, our big thing that happens that changes the course of the story, and then our falling action that comes to our conclusion, okay? So here is yours. You're going to do this individually. You write your name. The setting is the where. Look, you can see here. I'm going to leave this up here. The who is the characters. First, middle, and last, okay?